Hey, my neighbors, it's Rain Yuri, better known as Rainy, and you are watching my channel, Homes to Investments. First off, Happy New Year to you. 2021 is here, and we are hitting the ground running with ensuring that our goals are going to be completed and the success of us personally as well as professionally. If you have not done so, I encourage you to get your focus and or your goals written down so that as the year goes throughout, we can sit down, talk about, hold each other accountable, and see where you are in regards to reaching those goals. With that being said, one of our goals is to make sure that we are providing you with the knowledge and the information that you need to help you make an informed decision in your house buying process, but as well too to help you towards your financial independence and your financial freedom. So today's topic is debt to income, and what are some things that you can start doing not today, but today so that you can start this year all right. So let's get started. Again, my name is Rain Yuri, but I do go by Rainy, and I am a realtor as well as a credit repair consultant. If you have any questions or just want some information in general, feel free to contact me on any of those ways that are listed, whether it's email, phone, or if you are curious and just want to know what homes are currently available, feel free to check out my website as well too. So the housekeeping rule, only two rules. The first one is that any and all questions are welcome. However, if you have something personal, just reach out to me directly so that I can answer it thoroughly as well as accordingly. Definitely don't want your information, your personal information out in these social media streets. So again, contact me personally if there's something that you need to go into details a little bit more. Another rule is that I ask that you ask questions. Okay. What I'm finding is that a lot of definitely my new home buyers, they're not quite sure about the process, don't know what to do. So if you have a question, feel free to reach me out. Feel free to reach out to me. My goal is, again, to educate and empower you along this process because this is one of the biggest investments that you will make in your lifetime. So I want to make sure that you have the information to make an informed and best decision for you. The objectives and the learning targets for today. So we're going to go over a couple of things. So by the end of this session, you'll be able to restate what is a debt to income ratio. You'll be able to recognize how the debt to income affects the loan approval process. You'll be able to calculate your own personal debt to income ratio. You'll be able to distinguish between what's an acceptable as well as an unacceptable debt to income ratio. And then finally, you'll be able to name some positive ways that you can decrease your debt to income starting today. So, what exactly is the debt to income ratio? Your debt to income, or what we call DTI, it's your all of your monthly debt divided by your gross monthly income. And remember, your gross is anything before taxes or anything before deductions are taken out. Your debt to income helps determine the risk associated with you taking on another payment. And your lenders use this to measure your ability to manage the monthly payments and to repay back the loan that you plan on borrowing. Now, this is one of your biggest investments. So they pretty much just want to make sure, can you repay it back? So, how the debt to income ratio affects the loan approval process. Studies suggest that borrowers with a higher DTI ratio are more likely to run into trouble making monthly payments. We'll go into details exactly the different percentages later on. However, just a general idea, the higher it is, the more risky you are. Your debt to income ratio compares how much you owe each month to how much you earn. And if your debt to income is over the lender's threshold, you will not be approved. So again, we'll go into what the lender's threshold is a little later in this session. So the calculation of your debt to income ratio, it actually is going to be the percentage of your gross monthly income that goes towards your payments, such as your rent, your mortgage, your credit cards of other debts. They do not consist of things like your utilities or your car insurance. So just an FYI. And it consists of three steps. Step number one is that you're going to add up all of your monthly bills, and that include your monthly rent or your household payment, if you have alimony or child support, your student, auto, or any other monthly loan payments. It includes your credit card monthly payments. And with your credit card monthly payments, is pretty much they're going to look at what is your minimum amount that you pay. Oh, and also too, going back to your student loan. So when they're looking at your student loan, they're looking at what is your monthly agreed upon payment for that. You also want to take into consideration and include other debts, things, let's say if you're having to pay for like some furniture or things like that. So any of those other debts. So again, expenses like your groceries, your utilities, the gas, and your taxes, they are generally not included when they're looking at your debt to income ratio. So your step number two is that's when you're going to divide your total expenses, which is your debt, by your gross monthly income. And again, remember, your gross is your income before the taxes and those other deductions are taken out. So in other words, just to make it simpler, what you spend monthly divided by what you make monthly. Okay. And then your step number three, so the results of your DTI, you're going to multiply it by either 100 or move it over two decimal places to make it to a percentage. And just a reminder, the lower the DTI, the less riskier you are to the lenders, which makes it a good thing. So how do you calculate your debt to income ratio? Okay, so this is one of the debt to income calculators that I use, and I will make sure that you have this link as well too. We're going to go through and just kind of put some random numbers in so you will be able to get a general idea. So let's say your salary or monthly earnings before taxes, before deductions are taken out is, we'll say it's 3,700, okay? So your rental costs, your monthly rent that you have to pay, let's say it's 1,100. Okay. We won't put anything for the HOA, the homeowners. For your credit card, we'll say it's $30. We'll say that your student loan, we'll say it's 125. And then for your auto loan, we won't have anything for your auto loan. Okay, so let's hit calculate. Yeah. So now that we have a general idea on how to do the debt to income ratio, I want you guys to pause this video and you do your debt to income ratio as well too, using the calculator that I just provided. All right, so now let's talk about what are some acceptable and unacceptable debt to income ratios. Okay, so we went through an example. Hopefully you had the opportunity to do yours as well too. So now let's talk about this. Again, if you remember previously, we mentioned that the lower the percentage, the better it will be. So if you have a 35% or less, and if you remember from the example we did, it was at a 34, it's looking good, it's relative to your income, and your debt is at a manageable level. So you most likely have money left over for savings or spending after you paid your bills. And generally, the lenders are looking at this as a favorable debt to income ratio. So let's say your percentage falls between a 36 to 49%. This has some opportunity to improve. You are managing your debt adequately, but you may want to consider lowering your debt to income ratio. And we'll talk about some possibilities that you can do that. This could put you in a better position to handle unforeseen expenses. If you're looking to borrow, keep in mind that lenders may ask for additional eligibility criteria. And then finally, if you're at 50% or more, we need to take some actions like yesterday. Okay. You may have some limited funds to save or for your spending. And with more than half of your income going towards your debt payments, you may not have much money left to save, spend, or handle unforeseen expenses. So with this debt to income ratio, lenders may limit your borrowing options. I can tell you that overall, the lenders that I have usually been working with, their max number is 43%. If it's more than 43%, they definitely will not approve you for a home loan. So what are some ways that you can lower your debt to income ratio? One way is for cars. So now if you need to purchase a car, purchase one cash if you can, or one that you can pay off soon. Now, only had one car payment out of my whole life, and everything else I've paid in cash. And the reason is that you just want to have, if you can, not trying to knock anything, but if you can, just try to be more cognizant of that, especially if your goal is to, whether to get a purchase a home or whether it is to just become financially free. Having a car payment that's very expensive, that's not going to kind of help you. Even if you just have to do something temporarily and then go back, to making a car payments once you get a little better handle on your finances. Okay. Another thing is just being conscious on your home utility uses. So although it's not included, it would help put more in your pockets. And parents with kids, I have a suggestion for you. My dad used to do is he would have us, if we got caught with the light on, we would get a hand popping. And now let me remind you all, this is like middle school and high school, okay? And we were doing it. So if you got caught with the light on, the person who caught you would pretty much go up and would give you a hand spanking. And it used to be something like, don't leave that light on anymore. And at first, it's like, okay, yes, I left the light on. But after a while, you start being more aware of it. Like, you're going to make sure you turn that light off before you leave out of that room. And I just remember, like, if any of my siblings used to get caught with it, y'all, I was like, so, but parents, let me tell you now, go ahead and if you're going to do this, make the rules, make the regulations, and make the boundaries, because it can get out of hand if you're going to start letting your children be the eyes and ears and the providing of the spankings. But I can tell you one thing: it really did make us more aware of the lights being left on, and at the end of the day, that did help with the utility bill. So that's just one tip. Another thing: so if you have student loans and you have not consolidated, consult with one of the consolidation companies about that possibilities. Do not go to any of those where you have to pay for them to consolidate. There are free governmental programs, Google it, that will do it for you. It's a part of the Department of Education, but look it up. What the student loans, they will look at your monthly payment. You may even have the opportunity or the possibility for one of their repayment programs. So look into that. Finally, pay off any debt. Talk with businesses about a payment plan if you need to. The main thing is you want to decrease your debt so that you'll have more income, so that your debt to income will be higher if that is the case. Some other ways to lower your debt to income ratios: get a side hustle. There's so many different options that you can possibly do to kind of help with some income, help pay off some of the debt, or just to help with some extra savings. Now I do have to let you know, in the event that you are trying to get that side hustle or that part-time job or whatever the case may be to count towards your income, you will need to have that for 2 years, and have filed taxes on that particular job for 2 years for it to actually count towards your income. Okay. Now, if your rent is too high, consider the possibility of moving temporarily. Um, don't want to live above your means, but sometimes if you have to make a temporary discomfort in order for you to have a bigger financial goal, do that. If you Now, let me tell you this: if you are going to have a temporary relocation and staying with family, talk to them about what you're planning on doing. Don't just go there and they thinking you're gonna be out within a month or so, and it's a long time period, and you haven't done anything. Also, too, let them know what your plan is so that they can kind of help keep you on track. And that does not mean when you're staying with them and your goal is to purchase a house that you just start spending money all left and right. Okay. Be kind, be gentle, and just offer them stuff or offer to pay a bill or something as you are trying to get on your feet. Another thing: save extra money. So, my ladies and gentlemen, this can happen on both sides. With my ladies, when it comes to nails, There's nothing wrong with going out to pamper yourself. Absolutely nothing. I know me personally, I love to go and get my pedicure done. It's something about just going in that chair and just letting that massage chair do me like that. So, hey, I am not knocking it. However, I do know too, ladies, that it can be very expensive when it comes to the nails with the extra bling and extra items on that. So, one thing you can do to still kind of be in that life, but not have to spend the extra money, get you some of these. Exactly. These are some press-on nails that I've used since to kind of keep me still up to my up to par, I'll say, in regards to my self-care. So I do still go get my pedicure. However, I don't have the extra nails or things like that. I use that extra money and put it towards my savings. When it comes to hair, ladies, we have YouTube. There are so many different things that you can do. You don't have to necessarily get all of the expensive bundles. Again, not trying to take it away, but think about it. That extra bundle that you're paying for, you can use that towards your savings just temporarily, you all, just temporarily. But use that extra money for your down payment towards your savings or to get your credit right. Fellas, you can also look on YouTube and find the different ways for your haircuts and things like that as well. What about when it comes to outfits? Do you have to always um, go out and buy outfits? Last year, what I did a challenge with myself on where I did not go out and buy like any really any. I think I may have bought a few things that were actually needed, but I did not go out and buy any outfits, and every month I was just able to put more money into my savings account. Kids toys. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Now, what about your cable and subscriptions? Are those actually needed or are those wants? Is there another way that you can kind of still fulfill your needs without having those monthly subscriptions and that cable? Because it really does add up, you all. But the main thing is to be conscious about your spending and to develop a budget. So let's go back to these kids' toys. So me personally, I no longer buy my nephew and my godchildren any type of kids' toys. My youngest one is 2 years old, and what I do is I give them in stocks. So instead of buying a $20 toy that he's not even going to remember by the time he's 4 or 5 years old, that money I just put it into a stock. And so now over time, by the time he gets 18 years old, he'll be have a nice little chunk of change that he'll be able to start his adulthood on. So just think about that as well too. That is it, you all. If you have any questions at all about just the debt to income or some things that you can start doing today, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my goal is to help empower you as well as educate you on the process and some things that you can start doing today. If you have questions about your credit or want to talk in general about what you can do to improve your credit, I do know of a couple of programs that I am partner with as a credit consultant, as a credit repair consultant. One of them is called Credit My Rent. So if you paid your rent on time for up to 2 years prior, I have a program that can go back and credit all of that towards two of those credit bureaus. If you also need to build credit, I have another program with a secure card where it will report all of your purchases to the three different credit bureaus. So that's another way that you can build your credit. And then finally, if there are some things that you need to get off of your credit or to remove off your credit, let's have a conversation because I do have a program that may be beneficial for you as well too. So thank you all again. Hopefully you enjoyed this session as much as I did. And I definitely look forward to being with you in the new future. Make sure you follow me on social media. You can follow me at on Facebook at Homes to Investments. You can follow me on Instagram at Homes to Investments as well too. So again, thank you. And here's all my social media contact information. Oh, and the next webinar, getting a lot of questions about student loans. So we're going to have an actual lender come on and they're going to talk about the bad of the student loans and getting approved for a home loan. Anything else you want to know or learn about, let me know. We'll get it up and running for you. Again, thank you all for your time. And until next time, be safe.